You see, that's the thing that we're really here to talk about today, is the fact that it is not government's purview to decide to save someone else's life at the expense of yours. Yes, sir. I'm doing all right. Are you ready?
Yeah, you guys enjoy, man.
No problem, sir. You could call it a pandemic. And we were told by our state government that they were taking steps to fight and to overcome this epidemic.
What's that?
Super Devil's on the side, so you can across the street for me. I'm Sergeant Pippin, Everett 312. Yeah.
Gotcha, man.
And so I'm going to ask Will Henry to come up here and tell you a little bit about what happened to Danny and why we're here today. Oh.
Sorry, the Army's interrupting you, and I apologize.
Oh, I hope not, because my car is like within 20 feet of that thing. I understand. All righty. Absolutely. We're going to move this.
Thank you, guys.
That bad, it's like Evil Knievel.
Here, go!
Hey, I'm the Silver Lady. I'm pretty unpredictable.
Want to bow down now?
I didn't do anything wrong.
Happy International Cannabis Day in Indianapolis!
Doing a love story on Jesus.
Fundraise year round.
You took a picture of me, but you won't give me $1. The drummer. He's pretty good.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. You can hear me now. We wanted to come out here this evening because there are literally thousands upon thousands of Lutherans who have died in the past 12 months, who are being ignored by our government and the mainstream media. And we we wanted to come out here this evening and talk a little bit about those forgotten Hoosiers and have a moment of silence and a moment of prayer, recognizing and remembering them. Because while there have been thousands upon thousands, and the drug overdose COVID-19 is a serious virus, and we've lost a lot of Hoosiers to it. But we've also lost a lot of Hoosiers because the government decided to lock down society and pick whose death was more important than someone else's. You see, that's the thing that we're really here to talk about today, is the fact that it is not government's purview to decide to save someone else's life at the expense of yours. And it's extremely important that we understand, especially now, because in just the past week, the governor has come out and said that he's lifting restrictions and that he's changing his mask mandate to an advisory. But in the next breath, he said that he was going to support counties and local governments in their decision to be more strict than what he was being. Folks, when government chooses who wins and who loses, especially when it's life or death, it is wrong. It is unethical, it is immoral, and the fact that on top of doing it, they refuse to talk about it is something that we must stand against. We must stand up and we must let our voices be heard, that we will not forget those the government chose to sacrifice in order to have their COVID-19 day in the sun. Yes, sir. I'm doing all right. Are you ready? Absolutely. Thank you very much. You guys be careful. All right, guys, I would like for you to follow me. We're going to move around a little bit to give the officers some room to do a little investigating.
Gotta go that way. Yes, sir. Hey, you guys gotta go that way, okay?
Situation over there, and we want to be out of their way. Folks, if you will, come on over this way.
I know they started screaming at me. I just kept walking over there.
All right.
Yeah, you guys enjoy, man.
No problem, sir. All right, we're going to move on around a little bit more. They want to give us a little more room here. As I mentioned over there, just about every day, you can turn on the television or the radio, you can pick up a newspaper and get COVID-19 statistics fed to you in a pretty steady diet. So, as I've said now several times since we've moved over here, many of us are able to get COVID-19 statistics at the tips of our fingers at a moment's notice. But if you go to the Indiana State Department of Health website look up the statistics for drug overdose deaths in 2020, you will find that they have not reported any data since June of 2020. They have not reported any drug overdose deaths on their website for over 6 months. Now this is significant for a couple of reasons. You may have heard that in the state of Indiana, we have an opioid crisis. You could call it a pandemic. And we were told by our state government that they were taking steps to fight and to overcome this epidemic.
What's that? Super devils on the side, so you can cross the street for me. I'm Sergeant Pippin, every 312. Yeah.
Gotcha, man.
We've been told that there is an opioid epidemic and that they are fighting that epidemic.
Yeah! Look at that. What is going on there?
The number of drug overdose deaths in 2020 for the first 2 quarters of 2020 were higher than the first 2 quarters of 2019. If they can't get that data right, how can we trust them with anything? If they can't get the science of data analytics correct, how can we trust them with any other science? And why should we be allowing an organization that cannot get its data analytics right on its website to decide who lives and who dies?
Amen.
That is immoral. Now the bottom line here, folks, is that Hoosiers are dying every day because the state of Indiana has taken away their hope. That is immoral. You can take away my job. You can take away my car. You can take away my home. But when you take away my hope, you have done something that cannot be repaired. And so we're here this evening to recognize and remember all those people who had their hope destroyed by the state of Indiana government. Now normally you would hear me say we are our government, but in this case we are not our government. Our government is controlled by a group of people who have decided that what they think is important is more important than what you think is important. And that they somehow have been ordained by God to decide your fate, but they weren't. God gave us all a free will. It is not the government's place to try to take it away. This issue was brought into very, very clear focus for me when I received emails from a gentleman telling me about a homeless veteran by the name of Danny. It was Danny, correct? And so I'm going to ask Will Henry to come up here and tell you a little bit about what happened to Danny and why we're here today. Oh.
Sorry, the Army's interrupting you, and I apologize.
Oh, I hope not, because my car is like within 20 feet of that thing. I understand. All righty.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
We're going to move this.
Thank you, guys. This guy's a hero right here. Thank you for your service, sir. I've served with him in Iraq.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, guys.
Seriously?
Give you all
Well, let's go. Mr. Nicely's going to give us a tour.
Coming out here today represents a lot of folks who have had to suffer needlessly during this time period because of determining what is essential and what is not. And when it comes to individual lives, I'd say everyone is pretty essential. And for an individual to be sent back for a procedure that could save their life could be detrimental in any kind of circumstances, and being that far into a disease.
You guys leaving?
Yeah, I gotta go.
These you don't have much time. These things metastasize very quickly, and if you don't act quickly, you can't catch it. And even the most modern, most powerful methods of medicine that we know today can't save someone's life if it's too late. So a lot of folks have had to wait for procedures, and they ended up passing away because of that. And, you know, a fellow veteran passing away because they have to wait for a procedure is terrible to me as a veteran advocate. And like what Donald had said as well, with the prescription drugs and these type of things, veterans are very prone to addiction. They're trying to self-medicate. They're trying to treat their symptoms of PTSD and these other things that they're trying to deal with and find in their heart to find peace with.
And tired of being in the land of the afraid and in the home of the enslaved. This is not who we are as Americans. Is this who we are? No, it's not who we are. We are a land of freedom and liberty. That's what God put us on this planet for. And with your help, these 60 people that are here today will be 60,000 tomorrow. Because we are on the side of liberty. And liberty is love. And love is godly. And anything that does not have liberty or love in it is not of God. It is of the adversary. And we have to fight that crusade. And we will win. There is no doubt. There is no doubt in my mind that we have the ability, that we have the energy, that we have the leadership with Chairman Evan McMahon, who is with us tonight, with Jeff, who is with us tonight, a leader in the party, with Don, a leader in the party, with you leaders in the party, in your precincts, in your counties, to bring the word that liberty has not lost. It might be down, but it is not out. We will rise up from this moment in time, from this fear that we have around this planet, and we will change things because it is the right thing to do. Now, I heard earlier today that President Biden wants to have some sort of vaccine passport. Have you heard that? Well, let me just say to you, my friends, the United States would not be the first country that would be doing that. Because right now in Israel, that is exactly what the Netanyahu government is doing. They have on their iPhones a green pass. And if you want to go into worship, if you want to go into a gymnasium, if you want to go into a pizza store, you have to show that you've been vaccinated. They have taken this virus, quote unquote, from that was given to us by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, right? This came from Wuhan. This didn't come from bats. This came from something that was organized. Because you cannot shut down the entire world economic system, so that there is no inflation anywhere in the world. And that people that are putting up 1.9 trillion. Do you know what a trillion is? I have no clue. But I know a billion here and a billion there, it adds up to some money. Well, I guess a trillion here now and a trillion there adds up to some money. But this type of tyranny, to put that upon not only you, but upon your children, is a sin. It is a sin. It is child abuse. And not only that, but there are a whole generation of children in this country that are going to be suffering because of this mask wearing. They're growing up anxious, even in vitro. Those babies can sense the anxiety of their parents. This is a sin, and I think history will record in the years to come that this was a crime. And we have to be the ones bold enough. We have to be the ones courageous enough. We have to be true Americans and stand up for your freedom, your neighbor's freedom, the freedom of this nation. Are you with me on that?
Yeah! Hey, buddy, come here. Come up here.
Amen. We are all children. And I had a chance today to visit with a Vietnam veteran who is suffering from PTSD, has been retired since 1992 because of the impact of that on his life. And let me just say to you, there is a whole generation of Americans that believed our government in the 1960s that going to Vietnam was because we were going to fight the communists. Yeah. And we know what a lie that was. And we know, and this gentleman said to me today, who is dying, that if I knew then what I knew now. And so I'm saying to you tonight, here in the steps of this great city, here in the shadow of J.P. Morgan Chase's building, that we will have truth in government. If that is the last thing that I do, and I know that is what you want, isn't it? Yeah. There are two candidates already that are on the ballot for the Senate. Now I'm just an exploratory committee candidate, exploratory committee chair. Technically, the legal folks told me to say that. But there is Todd Young, who is an attorney. There is Philippe out of Gary, with the Democrats, who's an attorney. But I think the vast majority of people here in Indiana, and I think the vast majority of people in the United States, don't want any more lawyers in Washington. I think what is needed is an exorcist in Washington, and I am capable of doing that job too.
Well, there's the vehicle right there. We just can't get there because something's going on here on the circle in, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Hopefully get out of here.